Hello, good morning. This is Sir Dave, and today we're going to talk about market efficiency. So, consumer surplus and producer surplus are the basic tools that economists use to study welfare of both buyers and sellers. So, base nga sa pinag-usapan natin last time, which were about consumer surplus and producer surplus, we've examined and discussed the benefit that these two parties can get in participating in the market. So sabi, according to economists, these tools can help us address a fundamental economic question. Yung bang allocation ng resources natin, determined by the free market where we are in right now, in any way desirable? Yung bang nangyayari ngayon in the market, how it fixes itself and how it falls to equilibrium is desirable? Yung benefit ba na nakukuha ni consumer and ni seller at the same time as they engage themselves in participation in the market, desirable? So, for us to better understand market efficiency, let us first go to the very concept of surplus. Okay? So sabi natin last time, consumer surplus can be determined by subtracting the amount that they paid dun sa willingness to pay nila, dun sa willing nilang ibayad. Ito yon. Okay? So, for example, if the actual price of the product is 50 pesos, pero they're willing to pay 100 pesos for that product, meaning the consumer surplus here is how many? 50. So, going back to the producer surplus naman, the benefit that producers can get whenever they participate in the market, sabi natin makukuha yon by subtracting the cost to seller, ibig sabihin their opportunity cost, dun sa amount that they receive based on their manufactured product or the service that they've rendered. Makuha natin yung producer's surplus. So let's try. Sabi natin, if yung lahat ng cost of production, lahat ng out-of-pocket expenses and the time, the value dun sa oras na nirender nila is amounting to 100 pesos and the amount received for their service is 150, then the producer's surplus is now 50. So this 50 here, ito, saka ito ngayon yung benefit na nakuha ni consumer and ni producer doon saan? Doon sa participation nila in the market. So, ayun. So, now, the question is, how do we compute for the total surplus? So, paano ba natin kukumputin yung total surplus? So, sabi, total surplus in a market is the total value to buyers of the goods as measured by their willingness to pay minus, ito yung para makasunod kayo, itong may red na highlight, minus the total cost to sellers of providing those goods. Sir, hindi naman yun yung sinasabi mo, di ba? Hindi naman ito yun. Actually, yung sinabi nyo, sir, ay ito. So, paano nangyari na naging ito yung ito? Ba, ang gulo na? Diba? So, technically kasi, we compute total surplus gamit tong formula na to. Okay? Total surplus, syempre pagpapalasin natin, etong dalawang to. Diba? Ito nga yun yung una natin, pagpaplasin natin itong dalawa to get the total surplus. Kung paglalapatin natin yan, total surplus is now equal to the value to buyers minus amount paid by the buyers. The value to buyers, huwag malilito, that's their willingness to pay. Plus, syempre, ano ba producer surplus? The amount received by the sellers minus the cost to seller. Now, from this formula, economists derived a mas madaling formula, no? We can rewrite the formula as this one. So, asa na yung amount received? So, mawawala na to, kakancel na yan. Ang matitira na lang ay etong value to buyers and cost to seller. That is why the formula for the total surplus is the value to buyers minus the cost to seller. Now, if you can still remember, as we've discussed market equilibrium, na magagamit natin to examine the efficiency of the market. So as you can see, I have here a graph showing a market equilibrium. So it shows consumer and producer surplus when a market reaches the equilibrium of supply and demand. Ito yun. Sabi natin, this is the market clearing price wherein the two economic forces intersect. Diba? In this point, the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. Walang sobra, walang kulang. So ngayon, paano natin siya gagamitin dito sa pag-evaluate ng market efficient? Paano evaluate si market kung efficient ba o hindi? We have to remember that market is efficient kapag una, kung sino yung mas nagpapahalaga sa produkto, sa kanya napunta yung produkto. Sabi natin, the value to buyers is measured based dun sa willing nilang ibayad. Diba? The willingness to pay is equal to the buyer's valuation dun sa produkto na pinag-uusapan natin. Kung matatandaan nyo dun sa previous video, the demand curve, eto nag-slope downward. If the price would be here, eto ngayon is the consumer surplus. Ibig sabihin, this is the benefit that consumer can get if andito yung price point. So again, if the market price is 50 and they are willing to pay for 100, ima-minus natin tong 50 sa 100, it will give us a consumer surplus of 50. Dito sa shaded part na to na blue, dito makikita yung consumer surplus. Only if the price is andito sa 50, which is the equilibrium price. So ngayon, babalikan natin ulit yung video na ginawa ko for producer surplus. Dito naman sa shaded part na to, dito natin makikita yung producer's surplus. Nag-i-slope upward si supply curve. If the price is in here, kunwari, let's say 50, and the cost of production is, the cost for producers to produce the good is, let's say, eto ay, assume natin na 10. Okay? 50 minus 10 will give what? Will give us 40. 40 na producer's surplus. So ngayon sir, what is the point? Sabi natin, for the market to be efficient, dapat yung good ay napupunta dun sa tao na mismong nagpapahalaga nun. And that can only be determined based on their willingness to pay for the product that we are talking about in particular. So, in producers naman, kailan natin masasabi sa part ng producer kung nagiging efficient ba si market? Kapag yung produkto, yung pag-manufacture ng good or pag-render ng service, ay napunta dun sa seller who can produce them at least cost. Ibig sabihin, pinakamababa yung cost of production. They can only utilize minimal resources para ma-produce yung good or ma-render yung service. Diba? Ibig sabihin, the market is efficient kapag napupunta sa kanila. Diba? Diba sabi natin nung nakaraan, tayo as buyers, doon tayo sa mas mura, 'di ba? Kung natatandaan yung video last time, yung paint job napunta kay grandma, 'di ba? Kasi si grandma can offer the service at lower cost. Bakit niya offer ni grandma at lower cost 'yon? It is because the cost to grandma, yung cost kay grandma, opportunity cost ni grandma ay mas mababa as compared to the other three na nag-o-offer din ng paint job. Okay? So again, masasabi natin that the market is efficient if, una, the good has been allocated dun sa tao na mas kailangan yon, kung sino yung mas mataas yung valuation dun sa product na yon. Pangalawa, if the service or yung napunta yung pagpo-produce or binilhan ng mga buyers yung mga seller na kayang mag-produce ng produkto o makapag-render ng service at the least cost. And then, hindi lang yon, di ba? We also have to take note that the price should be maintained as well in the equilibrium price. Pero market has its way para mapunta siya dito. Sabi nga natin, as we've discussed do sa market equilibrium na video that I've created. At this point, both consumers and producers benefit from the market as they participate in the market. And in this point, as the consumer benefits from the market and the producer benefits from the market is efficient. As long as the supply of goods to the buyers, na-allocate natin yung supply of goods to the buyers who value them the most, and the demand can be allocated dun sa sellers who can produce them at least cost, then the market is in equilibrium. And the market, no, not just in equilibrium, but the market is at its efficient point. So we have to remember, I have here a note, no? If you can, kung nakikita nyo siya. When analyzing the graph, sabi ko dito, eto, ba't ko binura? Di ba? Ba't ko binura? Okay. Ito natin. Highlight dapat yun. When analyzing the graph, keep in mind that the demand curve reflects the value to buyers. Ito yon, the demand curve. This will tell the value to buyers. Ito yon. So, lahat ng tao na dito sa part na to, hindi nila nakuha yung produkto. Kasi sila yung mga tao na hindi gaanong binavalue yung good na pinag-uusapan natin. Tama? At hindi rin napunta yung good sa mga, yung trabaho dito sa mga seller na naan dito sa point na to dahil mataas yung cost nila sa pag-produce nun. If the cost is high, they are not being efficient to what they do. So ngayon, napupunta ngayon, kailangan i-allocate yung demand dito sa mga sellers na naandito sa point na to para maging efficient yung market. In this case, kapag andito, the market or the well-being of the economy is good. So, I think I've been able to discuss the very concept of the market efficiency, kung kailan nagiging efficient si market, and how the market equilibrium shows the efficiency or the benefit that consumers and suppliers can get in the participation of them in the market. So I hope you've learned something today about market efficiency. Before you watch this, make sure that you've been able to watch the market equilibrium, the consumer surplus, and the producer surplus.